Like, I've watched Duke play. They shouldn't be this bad in offense. They should not be this bad in offense. Like, she is genuinely she's obviously, look, with the way this team defends, with her experience coaching, she's obviously an exceptional defensive coach. But like, that's why I'm concerned. I don't think Carl Lawson's a bad coach. I think she is maybe the worst offensive coach I've ever seen in basketball.
That's not just guessing, it's genuine concern from someone who understands how Cara Lawson runs things at Duke. And this matters, because Lawson isn't just coaching Duke anymore. She's now in charge of Team USA, but here's the surprising part. The same coach whose Duke team sometimes struggles to score even 50 points against strong opponents is now responsible for selecting the Team USA roster. So
they're just not they're going to fuck it. I have this really strange feeling that they're going to fuck it. That they're going to try to justify it. Like, she's going to be, everyone's like, oh, she's on the Team USA team. No, she's in Team USA camp. There's 20 fucking players in that camp. Like, Ariel Atkins is going to be at that camp. Sonia Citron's going to be at that camp. Do I think they're going to pick Caitlin Clark over Sonia Citron? Man, they picked Jewel Lloyd over Caitlin Clark. They picked an injured player over Caitlin Clark. They literally picked an injured player over her. Like, it is what it is. They picked an injured player over her for the last Olympics.
This isn't about whether Caitlin Clark is good enough. Obviously she is. She was the WNBA Rookie of the Year, led the league in assists with nearly 9 per game, and completely transformed the Indiana Fever. Her talent isn't the issue. The real question is fit. Does her offensive style actually work with Cara Lawson's defensive?
You have to just go and like take the team that's going to win and not the best individual players. And I think if your tactic is you want to win the game in the 60s, Caitlin Clark's not the player for you, and we can all be honest with that. We can say that's a dumb tactic, but if you want to win a game in the 60s, Caitlin Clark's not the player for you. Like, you have enough scoring, and you're just going to go and play full defense maybe? Dump the ball into Aja Wilson. If you want to run and get out and use the advantage that Stewie and Aja Wilson have, if you want to go and use the advantage that Copper gets, if you want to use the advantage that Angel Reese is going to bring you on the inside, you go and bring Caitlin Clark. But if you want to win a game in the 60s and have a
Duke hasn't exactly been lighting up the scoreboard under Lawson. Remember that Elite 8 game last year? They barely passed 50 points. And that wasn't just tournament pressure, that's their system. Now compare that to Caitlin Clark's Iowa teams, who averaged almost 87 points per game. Fast, high scoring, everything built around her. She thrived in transition, in pick and roll, creating shots for others. Her game was about freedom and pace. Lawson's Duke teams, the opposite. Slow the game down, play tough defense, try to win in the 60s. And here's the issue, Clark has never played in a system like that. Not at Iowa, not in the WNBA. She is the system. And if you're not playing to her strengths, are you wasting the most exciting offensive player we've seen in
where it's won and lost in the mid-range, and give the other team a puncher's chance of beating you? Because let's be real, if you're trying to win a game in the 60s, all it takes is for the other team to hit a couple of threes and suddenly you've lost. Like, I don't know, if that's your tactic, you might lose, especially because of the standard that France is playing at the minute. And like, they have so many players, and in fairness, Spain look like they could be tricky enough as well. Australia are always going to be decent. So yeah, look, I think they bring Caitlin Clark. I do. But like, I also have this, the more I watch Duke, and maybe this is just because I'm watching a lot of Duke, I am watching a lot of Duke. I'm just watching them and I'm like,
let's talk point guard competition, because it's tricky. Jackie Young from the Aces is elite on both ends, averaging nearly 16 points and 5 assists last year with excellent defense. Alyssa Thomas from the Sun is a defensive powerhouse who can guard anyone and even run the point. And Chelsea Gray, even coming off injury, brings championship experience and that calm, controlled presence you need in tough, low-scoring games. So if Lawson wants a defensive team that wins in the 60s, those three might make more sense than Clark. Young can shut down opposing guards. Thomas is a 6'2" matchup nightmare with more than 2 steals per game. Gray has led to teams to WNBA titles and knows how to manage grind-it-out basketball. Clark, meanwhile, averaged a respectable 1.3 steals as a rookie, but her defensive rating was just okay. Not terrible, but not what you pick if defense is your priority. And that's the whole point. If Lawson builds around defense, Clark becomes a nice-to-have, not a must-have.
Can build a Caitlin to Asia. Realistically, who should be on that team? Guarantees. Caitlin, Asia, Stewie, Fee, Aaliyah, Kelsey Mitchell, possibly. Maybe not as much. Aaliyah should be a guarantee. Jackie Young should be a guarantee. And that's it. That's it. But the problem is, like, you're going to bring Angel as a big. You're going to bring, you're probably going to bring, like, I wouldn't even be that opposed to bringing Citron as a guarantee as just a glue player. Because, like, she's the best of what she is in the league. But, like, I just have this really weird feeling that in March she's not going to do great at this Team USA camp. Or not even that she's not going to do great. She's not going to do great in this slow down defensive system, which we can all admit that that's not playing to Caitlin Clark's strengths.
Remember the 2024 Olympics? Clark didn't make the roster, even though she dominated the headlines. The committee chose players with experience in international play, FIBA rules, and defensive schemes. They even picked Darica Hamby over Clark, and Hamby wasn't fully healthy, but they still chose her for her size, rebounding, and defense. That tells you everything about Team USA's priorities: fit over fame. Now, heading into the 2026 World Cup, Lawson's philosophy is still defense and tempo control. She hasn't coached a fast-paced offense-first team at Duke, and she's never had a player like Clark. She's also never suggested she would change her system for a talent like that.
Young's actually better in this system, and, you know, we need Chelsea Gray for vet leadership. I have this really weird feeling she's not going to make the team. Do I have any evidence to back it up? No. I've just been watching a Carl Lawson coach team. I've been watching a Carl Lawson coach team, and I'm literally sitting there like, this is vomit basketball. This is one of the worst things that I've ever watched. And I watched Duke last year, and like, other than Toby Fournier, who at times was a little bit of an exciting player, I was like, this is unwatchable. And that like, they were awful to watch. They were absolutely awful to watch last year. They're even worse to watch this year, and they're meant to be good. Like, they are meant to be good. And they're just, if nothing else, even if you want to say Duke aren't that bad, they're boring as fuck. And I think we can all come to an agreement in a slow down, boring play style. Would you rather have Alyssa Thomas or Caitlin Clark? You know?
Let's talk about Team USA training camp in March. 20 players will get invitations. Clark will definitely be one of them, but so will Paige Buchers, likely the No. 1 pick in the 2025 WNBA draft, and Sonia Citron from Notre Dame, one of the best glue players in the game, plus all the veterans who have been with the national team for years. 20 players, but only 12 spots, 8 cuts. That's where the style clashes become real. If Lawson uses her Duke-style defense in those scrimmages, Clark might struggle. She won't shine in a slow half-court environment. Her strengths won't show there. But Alyssa Thomas, she thrived getting steals, pushing the ball, making smart reads. Jackie Young will lock up guards and hit mid-range shots. Those players will look like perfect fits for Lawson's plan. And when it's time to make cuts, fit will matter more than pure talent.
Like, they do, but like, they also don't. They do and they don't. But yeah, it's an interesting one all around. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think it's a guarantee? I think if the coach was an offensive coach, it would be a guarantee. I think it would be a guarantee that she starts. I think the likelihood is that she starts. I think it's more likely that Caitlin Clark doesn't make the team, that she comes off the bench. I think if a coach wants to bring Caitlin Clark's your point guard.
International basketball is different. The three-point line is closer, good for shooters like Clark, but the game is also more physical. Perimeter players get less protection. Post play is more important. Transition opportunities are harder because teams get back quickly. France has been building their program for years. Size, skill, experience. Spain is rising with versatile forwards. Australia is always tough and disciplined. You can't just try to outscore these teams. So if Lawson believes the path to winning the World Cup is through defense and controlling possessions, she might be right. The US still has the most talent on paper, but the world is catching up. You can't just show up and win by 20 anymore. You need a system, communication, and total buy-in. And that brings us back to the core question. Does Clark fit into that system, or does she need a system built around her to be at her best?
Clark? Caitlin Clark's not going to be on the squad. I think it's going to be, with the way everything's being treated with Team USA basketball, and even with Sue Bird and the WNBA and everything, I think it's going to be one of two extremes. I think either she's going to be the guaranteed starting point guard, no question about it, or she's going to...
Now let's talk about who is almost guaranteed to make the team, because that matters. A'ja Wilson is a lock, a two-time MVP, the best player in the world, and the centerpiece of any Team USA offense. Breanna Stewart is also a lock, the face of USA basketball for a decade, bringing size, versatility, and championship experience. Sabrina Ionescu is almost certainly in as well. Thanks to her elite shooting and massive popularity, Kelsey Mitchell has an outside chance because she can score at a high level. And Napheesa Collier should absolutely be in. She's elite on both ends of the court. That's basically 5 spots already claimed before camp even starts. Maybe 6 if Mitchell makes it. That leaves only 6 or 7 spots for everyone else. And that's when things get tough. Angel Reese might earn a place as a rebounder. Alyssa Thomas could make it as a defensive anchor. Jackie Young offers two-way impact. Chelsea Gray brings veteran point guard stability. Sonia Citron is a reliable glue player. And somewhere in that mix, Caitlin Clark is fighting for a spot not based on talent, but based on how well she fits Kara Lawson's system. Here's what makes the situation so tense. If Clark makes the roster, she basically has to start. You don't bring in the most transformative player in the WNBA and make her come off the bench. That's a PR nightmare and a waste of her talent. She isn't a role player. Clark is a system player in the sense that she is the system. At Iowa, everything ran through her. In the WNBA, she has the ball, constantly initiating the offense, pushing transition, and creating for shooters. You maximize her value by giving her control and letting her dictate the pace. But what if Lawson doesn't want to play that way? What if Lawson prefers Jackie Young at point guard because she's a better defender? What if she wants a slower offense built around feeding A'ja Wilson in the post? What if her entire strategy is about reducing possessions and winning with defense? If that's the case, Clark isn't just a bench player, she might not make the team at all. Because if you're not going to start her or build around her strengths, why bring her? Why use a roster spot on a player who doesn't fit your system? That's the reality. It's not about whether Clark is good enough, she clearly is. It's about whether Lawson's system has space for her. And based on what we've seen from Duke and Lawson's defensive identity, there's a real chance the answer is no. Think about how that would look. The most popular player in women's basketball left off the World Cup roster. The backlash would be enormous. But USA Basketball has never cared about popularity, they care about winning. And if Lawson genuinely believes she can win without Clark by building a defense-first team, she'll do it. We already saw this at the Olympics. They stuck to their principles. Experience, fit, defense. They ignored outside pressure, made their own choices, and won gold. It validated everything. The World Cup isn't the same, but the philosophy is USA Basketball will choose the 12 players who give them the best chance to win, not the most famous names. And if Lawson looks at her options and decides that Young, Thomas, and Gray fit her system better than Clark, she'll make that call. Training camp in March will reveal everything. Watch how Lawson structures the scrimmages. Watch the pace she emphasizes. Watch whether she prioritizes transition or half-court execution. Watch how much freedom she gives the point guards. If it looks like a typical Duke practice, slow, defensive, physical, that's bad news for Clark. If it's more free-flowing and that's a good sign. But based on Lawson's history, the safe bet is the former. And the people who follow this closely are noticing the same warning signs. They're watching Duke games and cringing at the offense. They're looking at the Team USA depth chart and seeing a logjam at point guard filled with defensive, system-fit players. This isn't about Clark's ability, she's one of the best offensive players in the world. It's about coaching philosophy. And Lawson has never shown interest in building around an offensive point guard who dominates the ball. So what happens if Clark doesn't make the roster? The media storm will be massive. Fans will explode. Sponsors will panic about losing the biggest star in the sport. But USA Basketball will say the same thing they always say: we pick the best team to win, not the biggest name. And they'll point to decades of winning as proof they know what they're doing. Maybe they'll be right. Maybe a defensive team built around Wilson, Stewart, and a lineup of tough two-way players really is the best way to win the World Cup. Maybe Clark's offense doesn't translate perfectly to a slower, more physical international game. Or maybe leaving her off would be a huge mistake, one that could cost Team USA a gold medal because they left their best playmaker at home. Maybe they'll struggle to score in tight games and realize they needed someone who could create offense out of nothing. We won't know until March, but the warning signs are already there. The coaching philosophy doesn't match Clark's strengths. The point guard competition is stacked with defensive specialists. And USA Basketball has a long history of choosing fit over fame. So if you're a Clark fan, you should be nervous, not because she's not good enough, but because the coach might not value what she does best in international play, where system and cohesion matter more than anything. That might be enough to leave the WNBA's biggest star at home. So what do you think? Is Lawson making a mistake if she leaves Clark off the team? Or is a defensive approach the right path for international play? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe, and let's see what happens in March.